Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Brandon here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Robert, and he's selling his Amazon FBA and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Robert, and how are you doing today?
Hey Brandon, thanks for having me. Glad to be on. And willing to share what we got going on here.
Yeah, it's great. But we're just going to go into the details of your business, and I'm excited to talk to you about it as well. Before we get into all of that, just a quick summary of the business. So it's an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business within multiple niches, and it was created in January 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $98,402 and makes an average of $11,720 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 47450 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview, what's included in the sale are the Amazon Seller Central account and 89 SKUs, 3 trademarks for the 3 separate brands, 4 domains and all site content and files, social media accounts for Facebook and Instagram accounts for each brand, an email list with MailChimp and MiniChat accounts for each brand, and physical retail accounts, e-commerce vendor accounts, SOPs for the management of the business operations. And it is worth noting that inventory is not normally included in the list price, and further details can be provided to active buyers. And it is also worth noting that the listing will include the Amazon Seller Central account. So, Robert, can you tell me a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so, I have a background going back to the early 2000s, everything from graphic design to selling, websites even back then, like tutorial websites, learned about e-commerce, etc. But I really started going, strong with Amazon and FBA and e-commerce about 3 years or so ago. That was, it started as a side business because I have a background in finance software consulting. And in fact, that's what I love to do. And that is what I do. So I consult a lot of Fortune 500, implement software. But anyways, it started as a side venture and, it had grown. I had one of the brands for the majority of that time. And as of last year that I decided to venture into some more popular categories by launching a new brand and also acquiring an exclusive agreement for the third brand. So that's how it all came along last year. And that's when sales really started to obviously spike due to the 2 new brands. But I think that there's been, kind of stuff brewing in the background from the stuff that we're doing. And that is not just Amazon, FBA approach, but we've been working hard to build other accounts and get a lot of other vendor accounts, which are very valuable and hard to get. And those alternative channels are some that are really growing and will challenge Amazon, down the line.
Okay. So then on the topic of how these businesses primarily make money, is most of it then coming from Amazon FBA, or is the e-commerce side starting to pick up traction as well?
Yeah, so the majority is still coming from Amazon FBA, of course, but these alternative channels, some, most of them we've only onboarded in the past, I would say 3 to 6 months, some even the past, 2 months, but they're really starting to gain traction. What we're seeing are the margins there are much higher because we have vendor relationships. So a lot of these, the retailers, they actually pay for the shipping. So we'll only have to cover, for example, obviously the product and we fulfill them. But through FBA, obviously there's fees and all that involved. But we see both, that there's both approaches to it. We're not saying that we're sticking to one or the other. It's we've had a holistic approach to e-commerce and some luck with physical retailer as well. So that's, we try to focus on all retailers.
Okay. Yeah, that's really great to hear. And, if the business is doing so well right now, then why is it that you've decided you want to sell it at this time?
Yeah, so I think obviously it's a full-time type of endeavor and the opportunities there to really kind of blow this thing out of the water. It just requires resources. I think it requires someone who's obviously willing to spend full time on it. I have a full time job and it's what I love doing. I have my MBA. I love, finance software. I initially got into this because I thought consumer goods products obviously are pretty cool, right? And Amazon seemed like a cool thing to do on the side. And I have, learned a great deal, but I think that this is, it's time for like a real business. So I either two possible routes, and that was either to raise more funds to do this, kind of the right way that I would like to do it. I would like to grow this to, a $10 to $15 million company, if that were the route. Or I would, sell it and obviously use the funds to, to pay off huge student loans and these kind of those things that are just, tied in my way as well at the moment. So that's one of those things where I love what I do. I get to consulting for like Facebook, for example, so Mercedes-Benz. So I really have amazing clients. So I work for a software company. And so, yeah, this has all come about and I understand it very well, e-commerce and retailer, but I know that it's a full-time type of commitment if it wants to grow, 10x or, 100x ideally.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Having someone that has the time devoted to really capitalizing on being able to push this business to its full potential is, something that's a great opportunity for someone. And now, was there anything that you learned while growing this business that you plan on applying to future businesses or future projects down the road?
Yeah, so the whole thing, what I've learned so far with FBA and with e-commerce as a whole, and any business, is that you have to scale things, right? I saw it when I had just one brand and, the sales were just $20,000 to $25,000 a month, the first couple of months started back then, and margins were great, 35% plus, we were just in the office categories. But once you scale things, margins, tend to drop. Of course, you're not going to have those magical margins anymore. You still have healthy margins, but that's why you have to scale. So in other ways, you also get savings, right? So there are, different things that you do, but it has to be scaled to a certain level. And with Amazon, that's what, we're seeing is that you have to be kind of one of the bigger guys to make a lot more of the money nowadays. So smaller sellers tend to kind of die off. And as I mentioned, this will either, have wheels to be a long-term kind of lifestyle brands, or it would just be kind of a side venture and eventually could die off, So that's why it's really urgency thing. So it's, to kind of grow it to the next level or not, just like everything in life, you have to nurture it to keep on growing. Mm-hmm. And with a business, people always, like in business, is always you're either growing or you're, dying, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. It's obviously long-term growth. That was my strategy as well.
And then on the flip side of, what you've been doing, as far as what you've learned with this business, was there anything that you had tried and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
I would say, yes, I did try another brand, a couple of years back that didn't pan out. I would say it's not that it didn't pan out. I just wanted to focus a little more rather than have way too many brands, I still debate, from time to time, was 3 too many brands? I don't think so, because they're very unique in why we went after a brand or not. But it was called the Comfort brand. It's not around at all anymore. It was about comfort anyways. So yeah, it's not that it didn't work out. We tried a couple products, didn't work. And yeah, we just chose to narrow it down to the brands that we currently have.
Okay. And then, so now where does the majority of your traffic for these listings come from? Is most of it coming from Amazon's organic search, or are you also running a few PPC ads on top of that?
Yeah, so we run Amazon and we run PPC, and, I'm sure through our social media, which we have a decent amount of followers, we've gotten some, through there. But the majority, does come through Amazon or the channels themselves, right? Through either of the channels. So on other channels, for example, Amazon, of course, we do FBA, but other channels, for example, like Walmart, we have a direct supply vendor relationship. So our items stay sold and shipped by Walmart, even if we're the ones drop shipping them. What it does is we have, somebody specific category, especially that we get to talk to. So they, for example, they could place our item, on the very first page, and it does not look like an ad, right? It's just kind of an agreement, and we give them a little cost percentage reduction, et cetera. So we have a little more control over what happens in those channels, right? As opposed to Amazon, where we just have to rank, right? We just rank, and obviously we get more views as you rank higher.
Okay. And I know you touched base on a little bit on with social media, but what other types of marketing are you currently doing for these businesses?
Yeah, so of course, all sorts of social media. We've tried to put together like a funnel as well. So some sort of retargeting kind of mix as well. And other one-off kind of things, like we're preparing one of our set of SKUs to launch through like a Kickstarter campaign, these kind of things that are really just sort of different. So we're really going to try to make a splash with the brand. Obviously, within each channel, they have different marketing tactics. So, Overstock, for example, they asked us for a 2%, marketing allowance so that they can promote the items, stronger for us within the channel. We've had some marketplaces, they help give us or host like a small giveaway for in exchange of our reviews, and the marketplace actually does this. So that was the case of like Wayfair. They help get people to just kind of review our products, things like that. So every channel is a bit different for us, and that's what we've learned. Obviously, that took time, I should say. Some channels, in the case of like Home Depot, we spent almost a whole year onboarding at Home Depot. We're finally live, but it was really extremely long process, right? And so those are the things that we hope that we build that will pay off long term, of course.
Yeah, no, that's a great opportunity, expanding into those other marketplaces and the other retailers as well, just to kind of diversify your traffic sources and also marketing efforts on top of that. Now, hypothetically speaking, Robert, if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways that you would try and grow it?
Yeah, so I would say the main ways is what we focus on the past 3 months, and that's been the alternative channels. So we're seeing now we're getting about up to maybe 25, 30 orders per day on those other channels. Whereas, we were lucky to get 4 or 5 just a couple months ago. And that's really from multiple channels. We're talking outside of Amazon, right? Those orders are very high margin and they're simply just not scaled. We haven't spent the resources on getting organized to getting some reviews and some views to those items. And then they hold on themselves, right? So once you kind of like establish some listings in all these sites. And the truth is we just didn't have the time or just the resources, because I don't know if I mentioned with the kitchenware brand, we acquired exclusive rights to that brand last year. And when we did that, that was instantly over 50 SKUs. So we've had come up with the imagery, the copywriting, the keywording, all these kind of things. And imagine doing that for, more than 10 plus channels. And all these channels look differently in the way that you have to upload and bulk upload, etc. So it took us months and months to simply just onboard. And that was as of, recent times. So that's why things have really changed quickly and the opportunity is huge, but small team, but we haven't realized it because of that.
Okay. Now, Robert, can you describe the process of how you're getting your inventory from your suppliers or manufacturers to these different retailers or vendors and then also Amazon FBA?
Yeah, so the majority of it comes through California. And then we use a third-party logistics where we store inventory there. And some of it's sent to FBA, some store there. And some we send it over and I have an empty basement. So a big basement that I'm not doing anything. And we turned it into a small kind of little fulfillment center, so to speak. It's offered, there's plenty of services for this. Like I think our third-party logistics also offers kind of these fulfillment services. But we fulfill out of there just the channels that are non-FBA, of course. And some can be fulfilled like using a service like Deliver or, like I said, third party. But we only fulfill orders that are not Amazon through there. And that simply reason, aunt mine that lives around, I just pay her monthly to kind of do it and just kind of helping her out more than anything. But also, I get to be close to the product, which I like and stuff. So it's not 100% required, so a buyer could go without it just by going through a fulfillment type of service, which we've looked into as well. And, that's how we do it.
Okay.
So clearing it through California and then going through a third-party logistics for storage and, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then can you describe some of the typical work that you're doing for the business on a weekly basis at this time?
Yeah, so I coordinate, shipments, obviously from anything from China to the US, and obviously keeping everything together on put together a huge Google Drive where I just keep together all the shipments, purchase orders that we get from like Home Goods. So we get physical retailer purchase orders. And I have placed, a work order with our third-party logistics to get rid of that, or, so Home Goods can come and pick it up, sending inventory to FBA, or at least, coordinating that and, obviously checking sales and making sure that, inventory feeds are fed across, and, just an array of different things to keep the operations going. I would say a lot of the things I do are just more forward facing, like looking for ways of doing things easier, or, not necessarily things are keeping the business alive. Obviously, a lot of analytics and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So more just looking for ways to optimize some of the operations and the day-to-day tasks and things of that nature.
Yeah, because honestly, for the amount of sales we've had and for the different channels, it would have been extremely tough to do without all the EDI integration that I've done, because I don't have a full-time schedule for this. I have a full-time job, which I do work from home, but I travel an extensive amount. So obviously not in recent times because of what's going on, but I travel at least, 50% of my time. So really the EDI integration that I've set up, and it's under the channel integration folder if somebody were to place a deposit and see it. But it's really extensive. So all the orders come in, through this whole platform, which feeds into our inventory management. And under the inventory management, we're tracking exactly how many we have in our third-party logistics warehouse, how many units we have in my basement, how many units we have, on the way. Everything is tracked through there. And all the orders get spit out into ShipStation. So my aunt is able to fulfill everything just from ShipStation, print out everything from there. Everything gets posted back to the channels, all the tracking numbers, everything. So, it's an immense amount of work that would otherwise, drive you crazy if you tried to do even one of those channels, just from even having 1 or 2 orders a day, from the amount of work it takes to manually go into each one. So I think that infrastructure is extremely valuable. And the channels are, just now coming into their own. And obviously we have the vendor accounts open. So if a buyer were already coming in, for example, with some other brand, or they're currently into e-commerce, all these accounts, there will be synergies because, they could list under these same kind of accounts, alternative channels instantly, right?
Now, is the EDI platform, is that something that would require a specific skill on how to be able to manage that? Or is that something that a potential buyer could pick up on within the transition period?
No, they could pick up within the transition period. So it's all handled, through our inventory management, and it's all, that's why the EDI makes it so helpful. It's all set up.
Okay.
And they would easily understand it just by, training just a tiny bit.
Okay. And then on that subject, do you feel there's any other particular skill set or maybe knowledge that a potential buyer should already have prior to acquiring this asset?
No, I would say, of course, the skill that not just any buyer should have, but anybody should have, period, I think, and that would be sales-wise, because we've compiled a huge list of leads for physical retailers and e-commerce, buyers, which we haven't done a good job of reaching out to or keeping track of through like a CRM or that type of stuff. And that could lead to, some physical retail orders that would be huge, and could easily turn this business into, make the Amazon revenue even seem super small, So these are huge orders, and we've already established connections with like Target, a lot of others. But Target, for example, they told us the minimum order per SKU was 1 million units when they place an order. So, and for kitchenware, for example, they said they never usually place just one SKU because they want like a set of something, right? A set of kitchenware. So it's usually a set of something, and they're 1 million units minimum per SKU when they first place an order for physical retail. So we at least have the context, and we've been in contact. So far, we haven't had luck, at least with Target, but there's hundreds of others of contacts that we have that way. And it's a matter of building out a small sales force to achieve those as well. And that just requires time, with sales and with maintaining a sales team or building up a sales team. That just requires time because you have to chase leads. You have to make sure that the pipeline and things like that. And it's simply something I have never gotten around to doing properly. So the lead wise, we had a process around it, and I hired off of Upwork and had an outsourcer. We got some good leads. We built up this whole, kind of lead, database. We just don't have a good way of going after them, which we do, but I don't. I just don't have the time and had the way of doing so.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's, also a great opportunity for a potential buyer then, if they have a team or, even some operations managers to kind of help with that outreach, great opportunity for them as well. Now, Robert, what do you feel are maybe some of the potential risks associated with this business?
The risk, I would say that the main risk, and to anybody in e-commerce, the big risk around is always Amazon. Amazon is unpredictable. Thank God our account has never been banned or suspended or whatever. Anything could happen, they say, within Amazon, etc. Which, the whole time, in the past 2 years, that's been my whole thought regardless. And that's why I originally went after, excuse my dog, that's my work from home buddy nowadays. So the whole 2+ years into this account, my whole thought was to just make sure that I opened up alternative channels to make sure I deleverage from Amazon. Not saying take the focus off Amazon, but just saying that while you're doing well on Amazon, you have to already be thinking of what other channels will be great in the next 2, 3, 5 years, right? And that's where I think we've mitigated some of the risks by doing so.
Yeah, no, that's really great that you took that opportunity to really diversify your revenue sources to, essentially, not put all your eggs in one basket, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, Robert, are you willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning any future projects or, present businesses that you're managing that you'll stay out of this specific niches?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. As I mentioned, I actually have a full-time job as a finance for a consultant, which is my joy. So
okay, awesome. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
I don't mind hopping on calls whenever, honestly. I mean, just ongoing call, as they fit my schedule, it's okay. But yeah, any standard sort of transition period or support that the buyer needs, I'm willing to help out on.
Okay. It's really great to hear that you're willing to offer that extra support, and I'm sure any potential buyers can see the value in that. And Robert, are you willing to negotiate something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal several months after that?
Anything's on the table, of course. Okay. It would depend on the situation and everything, but, willing to consider different things.
Okay, perfect. And then just a few more sideline questions for you, Robert. Is there anyone who inspired you while you were building this business that our listeners might like as well?
I'm a huge podcast person, audiobook type of guy. I've listened to, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's a podcast called How I Built This by Guy Raz. He does also the TED Talks, the TED Hour, I'd say. But yeah, the podcast is called How I Built This. Every episode is essentially a different business and how they went about it, what kind of struggles they faced at the beginning and along their journey, and just kind of, interview style, but conversational, and it's awesome. So each podcast is maybe 30 to 45 minutes, and they're great to kind of, just give you a glimpse into what different businesses face.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's really rounded out my business skills, I would say. Yeah. Otherwise, it's about me. I recently finished my MBA last year. And as I mentioned, I have a background in finance software, mainly finance. So yeah, I love business. I love entrepreneurship, and have always kind of been, either doing something entrepreneurial on the side or been working for a company or some sort of software that new and feels like a startup kind of environment. I feel like that's really where I thrive the most.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
Well, you just have to do. A lot of times that's what I see when you just do and just put something out there, not necessarily failing, but like failing quick, meaning you're going to learn right away. So like, kind of put the product and then, fix the images, fix this, like always have that kind of mindset to where you're constantly just, fixing stuff, right? Because that's kind of how you move everything forward. What I mean by fixing is just, improving something, improving here, improving there, improve the packaging a little bit, on the next shipment in, improve this a little bit on this next thing. That kind of mindset is how you can do a lot with not so many people.
Yeah, no, I can completely agree with you. As the saying goes, perfection equals poverty. It's, get the thing out there and make the adjustments and kind of figure out what works and what doesn't as you go. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Now, was there any software or tools that really helped you while you were managing this business?
Yes, I would say, of course, our inventory management system, which is TradeGecko, ShipStation, because, we're able to collect all shipments from all channels and process them all at once. Of course, within the Amazon side, there's plenty to look for keywords and look for, kind of sales data or competitive analysis. Plenty of those to go around, so I'm sure you know the majority of them. But of course, Excel and the usual tools to kind of help you guys. So
some of the business stuff on the back end.
Right, yeah. But our inventory management system, I think, is what really has allowed me to even run the business at this level just by myself as a side gig because, we're probably on pace this year to do about 1.5 million if it just stayed like this without releasing any new products or doing anything else to it. And really that's coming from, could be 90-80% from Amazon, but the remaining 15-20 is coming from maybe 10 different sources. And those have all now been kind of consolidated and tightened up, so they're ready to grow. And with this EDI, it would allow you to sell fully through those and really not need much else other than fulfillment capabilities, right? So that's really been the goal.
Yeah, no, it's great that you already have a lot of those systems in place. And, it's amazing a business of this size you're able to run completely on your own. So, that shows a lot about the automation and the tools that you're using for the business on the back end. Now, why do you feel that this business model is great for those who are maybe just getting started into, working online or starting an online business?
Yeah, because I think it's just the right size. It's right under, what I would consider a full-on real business, right? Where you have, a whole team of people, and usually business of this size would probably have a whole huge team. But somebody could step in, and we do have outsourced employees and just for about every department and every kind of function. But somebody could come in and really build this out, like build out a team, obviously, because the most that requires is just time, time to spend with people, to do things and carry out that vision that you have, and somebody that could come in and really mold this into their own, really blend it into a portfolio that they currently have, or whether they just turn it into their full-time role and take this as a salary plus, then it's it's an ideal situation. Not to mention the current situation that we're facing. Most people are not, I wouldn't say most people, but obviously a lot of people are out of jobs or looking for ways to really taking a look at themselves, like, okay, like how can I avoid, getting laid off? What if I would have gotten laid off? What could I have done about it? Right. This kind of situation. So thankfully, the industries I'm in, well, whether it be this e-commerce or my full-time gig as a consultant, they haven't been affected because it's, finance, software, et cetera. But overall, of course, we're all affected, but really somebody who could have been, affected by not having a job anymore, could rely on something like this, or if they would have had it. Right. And now obviously what we're seeing is increased demand. Like we see the alternative channels increasing, and overall, a lot of categories on e-commerce are on the uptick.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen that uptick as well, just from doing a lot of research and stuff and looking into the back end of a lot of businesses that are on the marketplace right now too. And, just one more final question for you, Robert. Now, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think that your business is worth buying?
Yeah, I would say it's a good value for all that it comes with. So everything from, like I mentioned, the infrastructure and the systems, but the amount of SKUs and expertise that we have on product-wise, with the partnership we have with the kitchenware, with the entry into physical retail that we already got in the case of home goods, with the established social media accounts that we have. It's really like a great basis for a great foundation. Things that could, sometimes go overlooked. Maybe some businesses, I don't know, maybe had more revenue, but didn't have any of these foundations that we've been working hard at. And those are usually maybe not the shiniest of things, but we really thought this through as how to build the company long-term from already years ago.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've seen just even on the back end, looking around at the business, it's, a great opportunity, and having all of these systems in place offers, as you had mentioned, the foundation that a potential buyer could really take this business to its full potential and push it to the next level. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the call, Robert. Was there anything else that you'd like to share that I might have missed?
No, I think we about covered it. I think, just to clarify that it is for 3 different brands. So it includes obviously the domains, the Amazon account, the brand pages. They're all brand registry. It comes with the Shopify pages, of course, the vendor accounts to alternative channels, et cetera. And obviously all that's seen on the listing, but just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going the extra distance as far as setting up a larger moat for, competition enter, the space. And, that's something that a lot of buyers do enjoy. And, it's a great opportunity as well. So yeah, I appreciate the call, Robert. Looking forward to getting this listing sold for you here in the near future. Awesome. Right. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Robert. And all right, everyone. So thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 47450. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.